Hello, welcome and welcome back to the Obsidian Mirror, a place where we pause a moment to reflect using tarot and other symbol systems for use in introspection. Today I'm going to do what I like to call a stratified deck read. And this is where we separate a situation into layers, revealing possibilities in terms of pattern, experience, and identity. Today I am using the Wild Unknown Tarot, as well as the Shadow Seer Tarot. Before I get into the reading, I invite you to get comfortable and take a few deep breaths with me, starting now. I hope that you find that moment useful and that you are able to find some useful things in this reading. Feel free to ignore what doesn't apply or doesn't fit. I'm going to begin with a major arcana. Now, before I recorded this video, I separated the deck into 3 layers. The major arcana is the one that I am shuffling now, and that will represent a pattern or force in this reading. It takes me a little bit of time to separate the cards, which I don't mind. I find it a little bit meditative. Some may call it tedious, but I happen to like it. We have the Chariot. Now I am going to the minor arcana for lived experience. While I am shuffling and getting the cards on the board, I wonder if there is something that you can do to settle in your body more, if at all possible. Perhaps that is continuing some sort of breathing technique, drinking some water, checking in with your body, getting something that you can ground with, like a stuffy or a snack. Maybe you want to do 15 jumping jacks real quick. So for lived experience, 2 of Wands in the reverse. Now we are going to go to the court cards. For identity and or response. Now, typically, The court cards, or the face cards, as they are sometimes called, are used to identify a person in our life. Now, I would like to broaden that lens a little bit and see if there is an expression that you see in someone that looks like an archetype on the surface, but may not be experienced as such by that individual. Perhaps it is. Perhaps it is a cultivated persona, and what we see as a person or an archetype lived in a person is more of presentation or managed perception. Mother of Swords. Okay. I'm going to grab a shadow card and see if we can glean anything about possible distortion or avoidance. Now, I am wondering if anyone who is watching this video is also a reader. And the reason I'm wondering that is because I'm wondering if anyone else here has seen or done split deck readings and how they may have done that, what their experience is, if you like it, if you don't like it, if you find it meditative or tedious. I'm curious about your experience. Also, I'm curious if there's another name for it. Maybe it's a major minor read. I'm not sure how else they're done. I would love to learn more if you're willing to share. Page of Wands, also known as the Avoidant. Now I'm going to check my camera real quick, if you don't mind, because it has come to my attention in reviewing these videos that my camera wanders sometimes, and I'm not quite sure why that is. I have secured my setup to the best of my ability, and I am recording with the tools that I have. So I am grateful to be able to start at all and share this experience with you. And I appreciate any and all patience you direct my way as I refine my process. Now let's get to the reading. I am going to take a deep breath and lean into the energy of the spread. So for the pattern or force at large here, what could be considered the theme of this reading, or the initial theme, or the starting point, we have the Chariot. So the idea of the Chariot comes with a sense of movement, but that does not necessarily mean that movement is happening right now. There could be an impulse to action in some way, preparation, a new goal. Perhaps you want to travel. You want to relocate your home or business life. Perhaps you're looking at a new venue for hosting some sort of event, a party, a wedding, a baby shower, maybe something else that I can't think of at the moment. I think that it is worth considering there are various types of movement. And what I mean by that is mostly in variables, so speed. You can move quickly, slowly, or somewhere in between. You can move on purpose or on accident. It could be impulsive. It could be thought out. Movement could be stalled due to analysis paralysis. As someone who has struggled with analysis paralysis, I want to impart to anyone here that that is a really rough place to be. And I'm sorry if you're going through that. Now, this card gives me the idea of posing for movement. It looks like the steed's hair is moving via wind, but we don't know if that wind is natural or artificial. Now, the sun is shining on this chariot. I'm wondering if that was a planned thing, perhaps light camera action sort of idea. It brings me again to models. This card always makes me think of models, and I think that's because of the way that the horse looks, so artistic. Almost like it's doing a hair flip, which I quite enjoy. And I also see that the chariot is adorned with a symbol of manifestation or protection, or it could be a spiritual symbol that is close to heart, that means something else. It could represent the four elements and spirit or ether. Regardless of what the literal meaning may be for you, I think that this denotes a level of preparation that precedes movement of some kind. Now, for the lived experience, we have the Two of Wands in reverse. Two brings to mind balance, partnership, cooperation. It is a seed that is officially germinating and maybe even sprouting. You might be able to see shoots. You might not be able to see shoots. Now, in the reverse position, this could be interpreted as void, negative, or reversed. I do not necessarily see it that way. What I do see is an opportunity for refinement. Now, this is not traditionally a refinement card. What I see is an opportunity, not a card of refinement, if that makes any sense. So I get the sense that there is something out of balance, some contract, action, partnership, something that could use a re-leveling of some kind, perhaps a renegotiation, Going over the fine print one more time. Making sure that everything is spelled correctly, that everybody is on the same page before things mature to the next level or step. It also gives me a sense of being unsure. Perhaps this move or this new location, for whatever reason it must be found, perhaps the impetus is urgent. Perhaps it feels rushed. Perhaps you would like to take more time to consider all aspects of whatever action that you are considering or have to take. If there is the opportunity to slow down a little bit more, take another look around, maybe get a second opinion, visit the site in person, have another conversation. Excuse me. Getting more details. I think that if there is an opportunity for you to proceed with more confidence, it is worth taking the time, investing the time, no matter how tedious it may feel in the moment, to invest in that confidence, in that sense of surety. As far as the identity and or response, we have the Mother of Swords. Now, what I see here is someone who is viewed as decisive, someone who is self-assured, confident, intelligent, perhaps educated, someone with accomplishments, trophies, things that they can show others about their earned acumen. Now, this is portrayed through the swords, so it is an intellectual acumen. Perhaps there is some instinct involved that others don't see. Perhaps there is some intuition involved that others don't see. I'm wondering if this long list of achievements feels like pressure, like pressure to perform, to get it right every time. Like perhaps so much work has been done that mistakes are impossible in some sense, unacceptable. I'm getting a sense of a very, very heavy weight of expectation and the desire to follow through to the best of one's ability. Now, this sort of decisive, intellectual, action-oriented experience or expression could be viewed as cold or emotionally removed, perhaps lacking in a certain expected, how do I say this? I'm thinking about bedside manner. somebody who may or may not want to take the time for emotional expression, but that taking the time and the desire to take the time are sometimes irrelevant or erroneous or unnecessary or bog down the works or something like that, not very efficient. And I'm wondering if this creates a sense of walking a tightrope that was self-made. Or maybe it wasn't self-made. Maybe this is a story that has been grown into, or an archetype that has become stifling in some way. I wonder if there is someone in your life who may be presenting as or experiencing any of these things. Now for distortion or avoidance, we have the avoidant, otherwise known as the Page of Wands. This is the second Wands card in the spread, and the imagery denotes more movement. So we are starting with the potential for movement and ending with what looks like more movement. It is also the second bird card in the reading. And so the avoidant in this case seems particularly flighty. Spooked may be another way to put it. Someone who trusts in the ability of their own wings over whatever is happening in their environment at the time. Someone who, again, has a certain type of decisiveness that they lean into. Now, I understand that there may be very valid criticism when it comes to avoidance or avoidant attachment style, perhaps dismissive avoidant. There are many things that we can learn about this way of being, but I urge you to look a little bit deeper and ask why. Why is this spread bringing up avoidance when it comes to movement? Or perhaps that is the method of movement. What is the pattern of avoidance? Are there particular things, people, places, behaviors, modes of communication that are being avoided? I also wonder if the avoidant is based on lived experience. Perhaps this is how someone feels. Oh, no, no, I will not go through X, Y, and Z ever again, and I will turn around and walk away whenever I see these things happening again, which is a boundary. It can be interpreted as self-love and self-respect, depending on context, of course. I also wonder if the avoidant is how someone is being perceived. Sometimes, when we come into contact with people who have less developed boundaries. They can see the upholding of these boundaries or the expression of quiet self-respect as being avoidant. The avoidant, in fact, might be experiencing the situation as avoiding unnecessary drama, unnecessary mess, perhaps enmeshment, codependent dynamics. There is a strong signature of mismatched interpretation here. I wonder if there is any value in communicating a different way about these patterns that you may or may not be experiencing, that you may or may not be witnessing in someone else. Perhaps it is just a new thing to think about. This does not necessarily pertain to you, although you could resonate with some of the things in this reading, and that is valid. Perhaps it is a character dynamic that you saw on a TV show. Perhaps something about this reading pulled you here and is giving you another way to look at things. Feel free to internalize it at whatever level you choose, or not at all. I ask that you take a breath with me. On another note, I think that this spread is speaking a lot to how people can be viewed and how different their lived experience can be. It is often people who are viewed as strong who feel the most pressure, the most obligation, the most isolated at times. They need a soft place to land as well, where they can be weak for a while, where they can take time not to worry about this decision or how something is affecting other people or what they look like when they cry, how it might skew how others see them. Now, if you are seeing someone in your life who exhibits any of these traits, perhaps getting to know their interpretation of things is a possibility. It may be possible, it may be not. They may be uncomfortable speaking in the realm of emotion. They may think that there is some kind of hidden agenda. And if that is not some way that they are comfortable connecting with others or being seen, that is fine. That is their decision. I think ultimately, this reading talks about the decisions that we make in the face of uncertainty and how our sense of the experience can be vastly and perhaps wildly different than how others see us making decisions in the face of uncertainty. and that can be alienating. It can feel isolating, and that it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. I think that there is potential for another type of connection, whether that be communicative, emotive, spiritual. Perhaps it is a joint effort. Perhaps it is a solo adventure. Maybe there is an avenue of self-expression that you have been thinking about or may want to try. That could be singing when no one can hear you. It could be journaling, painting, or another creative avenue. It could be going to a rage room by yourself as a form of intermittent therapy. I don't know what may suit the situation best. I think there are many avenues to explore and many opportunities to deepen connection if you want them. It may feel tedious. It may feel like it is not worth the investment, not worth the time, that there is no way to correct this inconsistency. Well, if you've tried everything, then hat off to you. But if not, I think that there's only one way to know, and that is to try something new. Try something different, if you feel called to do that. At this time, I invite you to take a deeper look at the cards, at the imagery, at these beautiful fine line drawings and abstractions that we get to look at. If you are able to look at all, and notice anything that comes to mind, and let it go. This may be easy for you, this may take some practice, but we are noticing things right now. We are not reabsorbing them, we are not re-examining them, we are not reliving them. We are just noticing them and waving them off gently. Any memories that come to mind, any associations, any pipe dreams, goals, any choices that you would have made differently. Notice and let them pass. I invite you to check in with your body again and see if anything has changed or come into your awareness. Anything you feel the need to address sooner than later or later than sooner. I want to say thank you for slowing down with me today, for taking the time. If you feel called to like, comment, or subscribe, I would really appreciate the opportunity to connect with the collective energy a little bit more, so that I can provide more useful insights, tips, tidbits, thoughts, or just another ramble however you want to interpret these videos. That is my goal. My ultimate goal here is connection and sharing. Thank you for taking the time to pause a moment and reflect with me. Maybe I'll see you another time. I hope that you have a good day, night, question mark, fill in the blank, and to see you again here on the Obsidian Mirror.